You were never supposed to see this. And yet, here you are. Some force beyond your understanding, has brought you to this moment. A pull deep within your soul, a whisper just beneath the noise of everyday life, urging you to look deeper, to remember. But what if I told you that nothing in your life has ever been random? The struggles, the moments of doubt, the dreams that felt too big, too distant, the people who came and left, the strange coincidences, the days where you felt something watching, guiding, leading you down an invisible path. You are not like the others. You have always known this, haven't you? Even as a child, you sensed it. The feeling that you didn't quite belong, that the world around you was more than what it seemed. The way you saw patterns in things that others ignored. The unshakable certainty that you were meant for something more. And now, the confirmation is here. Someone has been waiting for you, watching from the shadows, moving the pieces of a game older than time itself. And today, that person is ready to reveal themselves. They hold answers. They know things about you that you've never spoken aloud. And if you listen carefully, if you open yourself to what's coming next, you may finally understand who you really are and why you were chosen. Everything in this world operates under patterns, cycles, the same stories, repeating over and over, hidden beneath different names, different faces, different empires. Those in power have always known this. The ancient rulers, the kings and queens, the secret societies lurking in the shadows, they have always played by these rules. But the most well-guarded secret of all, there are those who were never meant to be pawns. There are those who were born to break the cycle. You see, this world is not what it appears to be. Everything you've been taught about reality, the limits of what is possible, the illusion of free will, the randomness of existence, is part of a carefully crafted veil designed to keep you unaware, to keep you asleep. But you are waking up, and they know it. Perhaps you've noticed it already. The way certain things seem to repeat in your life, as if pulling you towards something you can't quite define. The strange encounters, the feelings of déjà vu that are far too specific to be coincidences. The dreams, so vivid, so real, that they feel more like memories of something that hasn't happened yet. Or maybe you've felt it in the obstacles, the unexpected tragedies, the endless delays whenever you try to step into your true purpose. The people who enter your life, promising light, only to pull you into darkness. These are not accidents. The world does not fear those who conform. It fears those who awaken. And if you're still watching, if something deep inside you is resonating with these words, then you are closer than you think to breaking free. But before you can do that, before you can step into the truth of what you were meant to become, there is something you must understand. There is someone who has been watching you, not to harm you, not to control you, but to reveal something you were never supposed to know. Because the truth is, you were never alone in this. And now that truth is coming to find you. On an otherwise ordinary evening, while the rest of the world moves in predictable rhythms, something shifts. A knock on your door. Not loud, not aggressive, but deliberate. Precise. As if the person standing on the other side already knows you will answer. A strange, uneasy sensation curls in your stomach. Somehow, before you even move toward the door, you already know this moment is different. You hesitate. Something in your spirit whispers, you shouldn't open it. Or maybe, you must. Slowly, you reach for the handle. Your heartbeat thrums in your ears as you pull the door open, revealing a figure standing before you. Tall, silent, dressed in dark, formal clothing, as if they have stepped from a world separate from your own. Their expression gives nothing away. No emotion, no warmth, but there is something in their eyes. a knowing, as if they already understand everything about you, as if they have been waiting for this exact moment. And without a word, they extend their hand, offering you something small, yet strangely heavy. A letter, but not just any letter. The paper is thick, luxurious. The edges trimmed in gold that seems to shimmer, though the light in the room does not change. And the seal. An emblem pressed into deep crimson wax, its design intricate, unfamiliar, yet eerily recognizable. A symbol that, for reasons you cannot explain, sends a shiver through your entire body. Your fingers tremble slightly as you take the letter. The stranger does not speak. They do not move. They simply watch, as if measuring your reaction, as if waiting for something to awaken inside you. And then, without a word, they turn and disappear into the night. You glance down at the letter once more, your pulse hammering against your ribs. There is only one line written on the front of the envelope. A name, your name, and underneath it, a sentence that sends a chill down your spine. Your presence is required. He has been expecting you. Your breath catches. Somewhere, deep within the layers of your subconscious, something clicks. This is not just a message. This is a summons. And whether you are ready or not, the truth is about to be revealed. You stare at the letter for what feels like an eternity. The words on the page are simple, yet they carry a weight you cannot ignore. Your presence is required. He has been expecting you. The ink seems to shimmer, as if alive, pulsing with a silent energy that you can feel beneath your fingertips. It is more than just a message. It is an instruction, a command. And yet, who is he? A government official, a hidden leader, someone from a secret order, moving the pieces of the world behind the scenes. Something deep inside you whispers that this meeting is inevitable, that it was always meant to happen, that this moment was written into your story before you even knew how to read. But there is another whisper, a quieter one, pressing against the back of your mind. What if you don't go? What if you ignore the call, tear the letter in half, and pretend it never reached you? But even as the thought crosses your mind, you know the truth. There is no walking away from this. Your life is no longer your own. The moment you touched that letter, you stepped onto a path that cannot be undone. The only question is where it will lead. The address is written beneath the message, but it is no ordinary location. You search for it, scanning every resource available, yet it does not appear on any maps, in any records, nowhere at all, as if it does not exist. And yet you know that it does, because you are meant to find it. So you set out. The city moves around you, unaware, untouched by the gravity of what you are walking toward. People rush past in a blur, wrapped up in their small distractions, their fleeting worries. They do not see the invisible forces shifting around them. But you do. You feel them, moving like shadows at the edges of your vision, watching, waiting. Every step forward feels heavier, as if reality itself is thickening, resisting, pushing against you. And then, as if the city itself had reshaped around you, you arrive. There is no sign, no marker, nothing to suggest this place is different from any other. And yet, as you stand before it, you feel it in your bones. The building is tall, ancient, carved with symbols that twist and shift when you look at them too long. The entrance is framed by pillars, their surfaces worn smooth by time, but still radiating something undeniably powerful. The doors are unlike anything you've seen before. Not wood, not metal. Something else. Something that seems to breathe, as if waiting for your touch. You lift your hand. A tremor runs through your fingers as they make contact. And then, the doors open on their own. The air inside is different, heavier, as if something unseen coils through it, whispering secrets in a language you do not yet understand. The hallway stretches forward, dimly lit, the walls lined with artifacts from a past the world has forgotten. Scrolls, relics, golden statues with eyes that seem to follow your every movement. And then at the end of the corridor, a figure waits for you. He is not what you expected. He does not rise from a throne, nor does he carry the arrogance of a ruler. Instead, he stands calmly, as if he had known you would step through that door long before you did. His robes shift as he moves, the fabric shimmering between deep sapphire and molten gold, a tapestry of dawn and dusk. And when he speaks your name, a shiver runs down your spine. There is something in his voice, something that does not belong to this world, a resonance that vibrates beneath your skin, filling every empty space within you. It is not just a name, not just words, it is a recognition. He knows you, not just your face, not just your name. He knows the nights you have spent questioning your purpose. He knows the weight you have carried alone. He knows the thoughts you've buried, the doubts you've never spoken aloud. And as his gaze locks onto yours, you feel it. This man does not see you as you are. He sees what you will become. You have questions, he says, voice calm, certain. And I have answers. Your throat is dry, your pulse hammering. There are too many questions, too many things you do not understand. But only one escapes your lips. Who are you? His lips twitch, not quite a smile, but something close. Who I am does not matter. He steps forward, and the air itself trembles. What matters is who you are. The room darkens, not with shadows, but with something deeper, something unseen. And then he speaks the words that shatter everything you thought you knew. You are not here by chance. You were chosen long before you took your first breath. And now, the time has come to remember why. The truth is not gentle. It does not unfold itself slowly, nor does it wait for you to be ready. It hits you, like a wave crashing against the fragile walls of everything you believed to be real. Because this world, this illusion you have lived in, is not what you thought it was. There are forces moving beneath its surface, shifting, controlling, pulling at the strings of history like a puppeteer in the dark. And you were never meant to be one of the puppets. Everything you have experienced, every challenge, every loss, every inexplicable twist of fate, has been leading you to this moment, the figure says. You are part of something greater, something older than the rise and fall of civilizations, a battle that has existed since the first breath of creation. Your hands clench into fists, a rush of something hot and electric surging through your veins. You're saying this was all planned? That I've been controlled? A pause. No. His eyes gleam with something unreadable. Not controlled. Prepared. Prepared for what? The question forms in your mind, but before you can ask it, he lifts his hand, and the room shifts. The walls seem to melt away, revealing something beyond them, a vision that is not a vision, but something more. A battlefield, stretching across time. Figures standing in the distance, cloaked in shadow, watching. Ancient texts, inscribed with symbols that burn with an otherworldly glow. And at the center of it all, you. The world around you snaps back into focus, and suddenly, you are standing in the chamber again, breathless, changed. Because deep in your soul you already know. This man, this guardian of knowledge, did not bring you here to tell you a story. He brought you here because it is time. Time for you to step into who you were always meant to be. And the war that has raged in secret for centuries, It is about to reach its final chapter. You stare at the man before you, your mind still reeling from everything he has just revealed. The weight of his words presses down on you, heavy, unrelenting. A war older than time itself. A battle fought not on battlefields, but in the shadows, in the spaces between what the world believes to be real and the truth that has been hidden for centuries. And you are no longer just a bystander. The air in the chamber feels heavier now, charged with something unseen. The man's gaze remains fixed on you, steady, unwavering, waiting for the realization to settle. "You have been called," he says, his voice calm yet absolute. "And now, you must decide." The words send a shiver through you. Decide? Decide what? Everything in you wants to demand answers. What does he mean? What is he asking of you? But deep down, a part of you already knows. This was never just a meeting. This was never just about learning the truth. This is about choosing your path. There are those who will try to convince you that fate is an illusion, the man continues, that we are all just wandering, making choices at random. But you know better. You have felt it. You have seen the signs. His words stir something in your chest, something that has been buried under years of doubt and uncertainty. Because it's true. You have always felt it, the sense that something more was at play, that your life was moving in ways beyond your control, beyond coincidence, that every choice, every struggle, every encounter had been shaping you, preparing you for something unseen. And now, standing here, facing the man who seems to know you better than you know yourself, you cannot deny it any longer. "You are not the first to stand where you stand," he says, "and you will not be the last. But what happens next? Whether you rise to your purpose or turn away, that choice is yours alone." Your pulse quickens. "What happens if I walk away?" you ask, though you are not sure you want to know the answer. For the first time, his expression darkens. You can turn your back on this, pretend you never received the letter, that you never came here. You can go back to your life, back to the illusions that once gave you comfort. A long silence stretches between you. "But if you do," he continues, "you will always know." The words sink into you like a knife. You will feel it in the quiet moments, in the nights when you cannot sleep. You will see it in the patterns, in the whispers of the world around you. No matter how much you try to forget, no matter how deeply you try to bury the truth, it will be there. And one day, you will realize that turning away did not change your fate. It only delayed it. A slow, cold dread settles in your stomach, because you already know he is right. This knowledge, this truth, has already changed you. You cannot unsee what has been revealed. You cannot go back to the person you were before you stepped through these doors. And yet, the alternative is just as terrifying. If you choose to step forward, to embrace whatever destiny has been placed upon you, there is no going back. The world as you know it will cease to exist. Your life, your reality, everything will be shaped by a war you do not yet understand, by forces beyond your comprehension. But even as fear grips you, another feeling stirs beneath it. Something stronger. Something that has been waiting for this moment. "You already know the answer," the man says, watching you closely. And in that moment, you realize he is right. You have known it since the beginning. The man takes a step forward, and as he does, the room seems to shift around you. The walls pulse with unseen energy, the symbols carved into them glowing faintly, as if they too are listening. "You have accepted your place in this," he says. "Now, you must understand what comes next." Your throat tightens. He speaks as if this is only the beginning, and deep inside, you know it is. You are not alone, he continues. Others have come before you. Others will come after. But only a few, only the chosen, are given the knowledge you now possess. A flicker of unease coils in your chest. How many? You ask. His expression remains unreadable. Fewer than you might think. Silence stretches between you. The world is controlled by those who understand its secrets, he says finally, and most will never glimpse the truth. You hesitate, something inside you twisting. You're saying... You swallow. You're saying there are people out there who already know. The man's gaze sharpens. Yes. The weight of the word slams into you, and suddenly everything clicks into place. The unexplained events, the strange coincidences, the way history has repeated itself over and over again. Not by accident, but by design. There are those who know, there are those who control, and then there are those who were born to fight back. A shudder runs through you. How do I know I can trust you? The man does not flinch. You don't. His honesty stuns you. But trust is not what matters here, he continues. Only truth. And the truth is this: you are needed. His words hang in the air, charged, undeniable. The war that has been waged in secret for centuries is reaching its breaking point, he says. The ones who have controlled history for generations. They sense what is coming, and they fear it. A pause. They fear you. Your breath catches. Why? The man's expression darkens, his next words chilling. Because you are proof that their time is running out. A pulse of something raw, something ancient, surges through your veins. The weight of destiny settles onto your shoulders. No longer an abstract concept, no longer a distant idea. It is real, and it is yours. The man watches you closely, measuring your reaction, as if waiting for the final puzzle piece to click into place. And when it does, when the last thread of doubt unravels inside you, he speaks the words that seal your fate. It is time, he says. And deep down, in the very core of your being, you know, the war has already begun. A deep silence settles between you and the man before you. The weight of his words lingers in the air, pressing down on you like an unseen force. You are needed. The phrase repeats in your mind, echoing through the very fabric of your being. For so long you have felt that something was missing, that there was a deeper purpose calling to you just beyond the veil of your everyday existence. And now, standing here in this ancient chamber, surrounded by symbols older than recorded history, you begin to realize the truth. This moment is not the beginning of your journey. It is the moment you finally remember the path you were always meant to walk. But with that realization comes something else, something cold, something heavy. The burden of the gift. Because those who are chosen are not given an easy path. The road ahead is treacherous, unforgiving, and those who seek to control the world will not stand idly by while someone like you awakens to their power. They will come for you, the man says, his voice unwavering. His words hit like a thunderclap, not a threat, not a warning, a certainty. Forces you have never seen. Powers that have worked in the shadows for centuries, for millennia, keeping the world in check, keeping people blind, ensuring that no one steps outside of the invisible chains wrapped around their minds. They will see you now. They will know that you have begun to remember, and they will do everything in their power to stop you. Your breath feels shallow. Your heartbeat pounds in your ears. For a moment, doubt creeps in. Are you ready for this? Are you strong enough to stand against something so much bigger than yourself? The man tilts his head slightly, studying you as if he can hear the questions racing through your mind. You have always been ready, he says simply. You just didn't know it. Something in his voice steadies you, because deep inside, you know he is right. Everything you have endured, every challenge, every loss, every inexplicable moment of suffering has been preparing you for this. It was never random. It was never meaningless. It was shaping you. And now, the time has come to step into your true purpose. The man moves to the center of the room, and as he does, the symbols on the walls begin to pulse with light. A faint hum fills the air, like the vibration of something ancient awakening from a deep slumber. This knowledge is not a gift, he continues. It is a responsibility. You will be tested, you will be challenged, and if you are not careful, you will be broken. His gaze locks onto yours, intense, unrelenting. But if you survive, the light around him grows brighter. You will become something they fear. A chill runs through you. For so long you have felt powerless, like a pawn in a game too vast to understand. But now for the first time you see the truth. You were never a pawn. You were always meant to be something more. And the ones who have ruled from the shadows? They are afraid of what happens when you finally wake up. The man extends his hand. This is your last chance, he says. Once you step forward, there is no turning back. You glance at his hand, at the swirling energy in the air, at the ancient symbols shifting along the walls. Everything in your life has led to this moment. This is not just a decision, it is a transformation. You take a deep breath, and then you step forward. Everything changes. The moment your foot crosses the threshold, the air around you erupts with energy. It's like stepping through an invisible barrier, like breaking through a veil that had been placed over your eyes since birth. For the first time, you see, the world is not what you thought it was. The systems in place, the structures that have governed society for centuries, it was never about progress. It was never about order. It was about control. A long-hidden force has been pulling the strings, moving the pieces of the world like a chessboard, ensuring that humanity remains blind to the truth. But there have always been those who stand against them. A silent war fought in the spaces between what is seen and what is hidden. And now, you are part of it. The man steps back, watching you closely. You have stepped beyond the veil, he says. What happens next is up to you. The room around you fades. The symbols glow one last time before vanishing into the darkness. The door behind you is gone. There is no going back. You feel it in your bones, in your soul. You are not the same person who walked in. The knowledge is inside you now. It cannot be undone. And neither can the war that has been set into motion. The man nods once, as if acknowledging what you already know. They will come for you, he says. Be ready. His words echo through the space, through your mind, through the very fabric of reality. And then, just like that, he is gone. You are alone. But for the first time, you do not feel lost. You do not feel afraid. You feel alive. The world outside is waiting. The battle has begun, and you are ready.